of like having actual farms, like farms that can produce more and more produce and actually sell produces in cities. I was interested in like thinking of like the historical background of like urban farming, and I've read that often during wartime, that's when people kind of like had more and more like farming activity in cities, because I guess they couldn't rely on the external system to bring food to them, so they needed to make sure to have like fresh food. They would just grow them. So that's a new concept in cities, but that's really important. And I guess it has many benefits. So one is to decrease food miles. So often, we have access to all those type of veggies all year round, coming from different countries or different part of the countries. Sometimes the veggies and fruit have traveled a long, long way to come to your plate. That has a big impact on the environment, but it also has an impact on health, because eating a fruit or a veggie that was in here like 24 hours before you consume actually brings a lot more nutrients than all this transportation and like cold and it kind of lose all the nutrients. So that's one benefit. Another one is something that Matilda mentioned around greening and cooling cities. So the more, I guess, plants and trees we have in cities, we can actually help cooling the cities. So in summer, it's really important, and urban farming can help that. So you can think that maybe little salads don't have a big impact on cooling cities, but if you're thinking of planting fruit trees, that actually has quite a strong impact. Another benefit of urban agriculture, it actually brings people together. So you can think about, okay, growing your veggies on your own balcony or your own garden, but often cities more and more have community gardens where people have their own little space and can share, seeds, or just like have a chat with like their neighbor. And that's really important. Connection in cities are really important for actual resilience of cities, because if anything happens, people know where all the people are, people know how to ask for help. So these kind of like connections are really important. And it improves health and well-being. So having access to nature or plants, I'm going to talk a bit more about that later on, but there's more and more research that show that just even like a small contact with nature actually help a lot with well-being and health. It's not that easy, obviously, to have a lot of like agriculture and farming cities. You kind of think that, oh yeah, I'm just going to plant a few salads and like, that's gonna work and be really easy. But if you want to think about like the large scale of things, there's a lot of challenges. First, land in city is more and more like rarer and rarer. It's more and more expensive. There's often issue with soil pollution. So obviously you don't want to grow veggies that you're going to consume in soil that have been polluted before. And vandalism. So for example, at the city of Melbourne, we had a veggie patch once a year for 3 weeks in front of the town hall. And one issue that my colleague who organized this program had, they were thinking that people would just steal the plants and steal the veggies or just destroy them. So often that's one of the barriers for people to implement projects. We actually found out that people didn't do that. They were just like really enjoying the space and picking some of the herbs, but not taking the whole thing. So sometimes it's about thinking about the risk, but also just doing it and see how people respond. So there are a lot of benefits and challenges, but again, I think if you work together with the community and you try different projects, there's a lot of opportunity for urban farming. So at the City of Melbourne, I mentioned that we don't have a lot of regulation, but what we can do is providing people with information. So we did a research, and this project is the Melbourne Rooftops Map. So we actually looked at all the different rooftops within the City of Melbourne and wanted to know what rooftop would be available for growing greens, but also putting solar. So people can access, anyone can access this map at the city, within the City of Melbourne. And they can choose to look at, I guess, rooftop that will be available for small plants, or some rooftop that will be available for like bigger plants, or rooftop that will be available for solar. Because sometimes it's just a matter of people not really knowing, you know, is my building fitted to kind of like veggie patch or things like that. So just information is really important how to do it. I actually, just my personal experience at the City of Melbourne, we have 2 buildings and 2 rooftops that are actually suitable to have veggie patch. And I really wanted to push my organization to put in place veggie patch so we can show the people in the community that's kind of easy. But I found myself that wasn't that easy because I had to talk to a lot of people within the organization. And the property services were worried about maybe the weight of the soil and the plants, that maybe the building wasn't like strong enough to support that. They were worried about the access of the plant. How are we going to be looking after the plant? Who is coming into the building? Are there going to be people from my organization? Are there going to be people outside of the organization? I was worried about water. Well, I need water for my plants, so it needs to be like water accessible on the roof. So when you think one thing can be easy and you start thinking about it, it might be a bit more complicated. But actually, all of this was made possible, and now we're starting to have like a veggie patch on our roof. So we talk about urban farming, and I talk a lot about plants, but urban farming and agriculture is also about animals. Obviously, you're not going to have, I don't know, cows or sheep in cities. That might be a little bit difficult. But bees is actually something that is happening more and more around the world. So cities and organizations in cities are trying to bring back bees in the city. I mean, it's weird to think that bees are essential to growing food. But at the same time, the farming industry killed the bees because they're using too much pesticides. And they found that bees are actually a lot more healthy. So bees community are a lot more healthy in cities, because even if we think that, yes, cities can be polluted, it's not pollution from pesticides that actually kill the bees. So that's a photo of a roof within the City of Melbourne, and those are different beehives. Those beehives, the City of Melbourne sponsored. So there is an organization called Rooftop Honey in the City of Melbourne, and they try to work with different businesses. So businesses and organizations can sponsor a beehive. They also try to find different rooftops available where they can put the hives. So if you're a business, you can actually decide to sponsor beehives, and you can, receive some of the honey. That can be like a gift for your clients or your consumers. So there's just different ways to do it. I'm from Paris, and in Paris we also have a bit of a love story with bees. I think it actually goes back to like 100 or 150 years ago. There used to be more than 1,000 beehives within Paris. And for some reason, during the Second World War, and a few years after the Second World War, those kind of like bee population decreased. And 15 years ago, people were thinking about trying to reintroduce bees in Paris. And now they've got like 400 beehives on like really iconic building within Paris. So, just thinking about urban farming, bees are really important. And if you think about having, fruit trees within the city, those kind of two systems work together. I don't know if you've heard about this. Is one of the most successful urban farm in the world. It's in Brooklyn, in New York. And it's such a great story because they've got 2 rooftops now within New York where they actually produce 23 tons of produce every year, just from the top of a building, which was completely unutilized before. They also have 12 full-time employees. So all year round, they actually created like 12 new positions, and they've got a lot of like seasonal employees as well, which is exactly the same, for farmers in the countryside. They work with architects to make sure that the weight of the plant could sustain on the building, and their company was profitable within 3 years, which is quite good. So, sometimes you think about, I'm not sure if it's possible, it might be a lot of like investment or whatever, but putting a farm on a building in New York is actually like a profitable business. I don't know if anyone knows about this company in Tokyo. Remember the name? Check. Sorry. Persona Investment. So I found out about them recently, and I'm going to Tokyo in a few days for the first time, and I really want to visit their business. So they're all about like growing veggies in their offices, and because it's really good for like people's health as well. So I'm going to wrap up quickly because I'm a bit over time. But I guess why it's important is because, I say it's good for cities, but for people as well. Connecting to nature, like you think like, I need a break from like this crazy busy life I have. I'm going to the countryside this weekend, I'm going to resource myself. Well, more and more like studies show that even just going outside for 5 minutes and kind of like connecting with nature, looking at a tree or just looking at the sky will help with your creativity and focus. So, it's about like looking at all those opportunities within the city to kind of reconnect with nature. It's really important for kids as well. There's a person that came up with this idea of like nature deficit disorder, where they say that kids don't have access to nature enough these days. And so we want to help, having this type of connection, because there might be a connection between people spending more time in nature and connecting with nature and people wanting to protect nature and the environment. So I guess that's the end of my presentation. So, it's about thinking about your own resilience as well, and the resilience of your city. And also, whatever you're doing, whatever work you're doing, everyone has a choice and everyone can actually make a difference. It could be just like growing, something on their balcony or even at home. And making sure that, you're a resilient individual to be part of a more responsible. Yeah.
Thanks, Cecile. So we're going to have more time to have a conversation with each other, the same as before. And this time, what's the most important opportunity or factor for increasing resilience in cities? You can talk about this question, or you might have some, you might like to have a conversation about some of the presentations that were given.